Oh, no, but really, it is a shame. I loved his work in Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids. Well. Oh, goodness me. Boys and girls and goyles and goiters and ghouls and grannies and gibbons. Welcome, one and all, to the big damn cast. Nerdy news, geeky gossip, stuff that's fit to fill your time until you finally decide ketchup or catsup. Ketchup or catsup.
Neither.
Either or. That is one of my favourite scenes in all of The Simpsons because it sat with me for years. You know the one I'm talking about where Burns basically has to go out and do all of his errands for him because Smithers is off ill. And he's just in a store looking, he's like, there's 2 bottles. Ketchup. 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 And as a kid, I just thought, the rhythm is funny. Oh, he doesn't know which one to buy. And then after about 20 odd years of just thinking about that scene, I finally asked myself the question, the fuck is catsup? And I looked it up. Guess what?
It's ketchup.
It's just a brand of ketchup. Yeah. It's a brand of ketchup. It's a brand of ketchup. Well done, Simpsons. You got me thinking.
And that's the last time you'll be saying that for a long time.
My name is Chris Catsup Johnson.
My name is Matthew Ketchup Watson.
And we got some nerdy news to talk about. We're recording this Year of Our Lord 2021 on Monday the 12th of April. We're recording this episode. So any big stories that have come out since that happen in the future, which we were unable to talk about, here's our reaction. Yeah. Holy shit, can you believe that?
No.
Oh, no. I mean, I'll be honest, I am confused / scared / excited / aroused.
I am all for. We are
one for each genitalia.
We're currently recording this from the nearest beer garden, enjoying a socially distanced pint with all the old folks on mobility scooters. Because they're the only people who go to pubs around here.
We don't have, in our local area, any sort of prominent or pleasant beer garden, really. There isn't one.
You know what I can think of? I think Moorside Farm's got one.
Maybe. Yeah, but then again, it's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? It's a bit of a strut.
Down Moorside Road.
And then...
like, the Last Order doesn't have any. The Church Inn doesn't have one.
The football's awful.
The football is awful.
Yeah, I don't know. Basically what I'm saying is, do you want to just meet in the park with a couple cans of old malt?
You can do gardens now.
Oh, you can. I can come sit in your garden and look at you from a distance.
I'm doing gardens on Thursday with me dad for his birthday. Because it's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Papa Watson.
I'm
in the past.
Doing gardens on Thursday with him. So I've taken Thursday and Friday off work so I can get blackout drunk.
Good plan.
And just forget everything. Speaking of blackout drunk, someone at Sony thought it was a good idea.
This segue. Oh, this works. This works. Let's keep him going.
Someone at Sony thought it was a good idea to make a deal with Netflix to give them exclusive streaming rights for their upcoming feature films.
Yeah, this hit this weekend, didn't it?
Yeah.
Why?
This could well be a good idea. Basically, it's a US-focused licensing deal, so I'm not sure if it'll be the same crack for us in the UK and surrounding regions, but basically it just means Netflix have first pay window rights to stream them after they've hit the theatres and home entertainment. So
it's not a guarantee.
No, it basically gives Netflix first refusal, I think.
Okay.
And it's for the next 5 years, so it's going to be where, once they come to streaming services, where you're going to be able to watch Morbius, Uncharted, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse again, Electric Spider-Verse, future installments of Venom, and presumably
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, any more Jumanji and Bad Boys follow-ups that we get or don't get. The upcoming Ghost of Tsushima movie that Chad Stahelski's going to do.
I guess Spider-Man No Way Home's probably in a grey area because it's though it's a Sony movie, it's only a Sony distributed movie.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's like really the only one of these Sony movies, apart from Spider-Verse 2, that I'm actually give a left fuck about. Like,
yeah. Oh, then again, it maybe it's more likely there'd be a Netflix deal because to this day on Disney Plus, the Universal movie, Incredible Hulk, and the two Spidey films, which are Sony distributed films, aren't on Disney Plus under the Marvel banner, out of the MCU stuff. Yeah, it's like they have everything except for Incredible Hulk and the two Spidey solo movies.
I'm sure I'd seen Homecoming on that. I might be thinking of Now TV actually.
Could be. I mean, I know when it launched. I think it was Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America: The First Avenger weren't all on there when it first launched. It was like a couple months in that they arrived because they're Paramount films.
Yeah.
As is the Avengers technically, but Avengers was the first one to be Disney distributed.
Yes. Oh.
So
Someone's calling me, and they cannot.
Why have you struck them down and cold blued?
It's because I'm recording this stupid podcast.
What are the pros and cons of this, Matt? Not the podcast, the Sony thing.
I mean, just probably not that many. Like, pros, it's
one
good
less
for
streaming
Netflix.
service to have to pay for.
Yeah, cons, stuff, if you don't have Netflix, stuff might only come to it. It's really neither hither nor thither. It's just interesting to see, like, where... It's nice that Sony haven't decided to make their own streaming service like every fucker else has.
I mean, I know over here in the UK on FreeSat, they have a movie channel. There's a Sony movie channel now.
Yeah.
So they must have been testing the waters of like, do we bother with a streaming service or do we just work with other streaming services?
I don't think they've got enough of a back catalogue to do a streaming service, because they also don't produce a lot of their own TV. So a lot of their TV stuff is partnerships, like the Last of Us thing is HBO.
Yeah.
So
and they have a fair bit of animation to their name. They've got a lot of stuff from the 90s and 2000s, Spectacular Spider-Man, Godzilla. Like there's a fair amount of stuff out there.
Yeah, I think
that's Columbia, because that'd be it as well. It'd be Columbia TriStar stuff as well, because that comes under the Sony.
Oh, of course, yeah, because they took over all that stuff. Yeah, I suppose.
It's a streaming service that exclusively just has the 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies on it.
Yeah.
I'd pay for it. I already own them on DVD and Blu-ray. Twice on Blu-ray, but I would pay for it.
Why do you own them twice on Blu-ray?
Because one of the first box set Blu-ray things to come out in 2007 was the box set of the 3 Raimi films.
Yeah, I had that for a while.
Yeah, and that's on a shelf behind this ring light, actually.
Nice.
But then about 5 years later, they finally released them with 1 and 2 having extras on them. Because that box set's just film 1 and film 2, and then a 2-disc special edition of number 3.
The best of the 3.
Yeah, well, it was back when it was like, Blu-ray, we're going to fit so much more on the discs. Oh, brilliant. But for years, they're just going to have the same amount of discs as the DVD version. Huh? So, is that because all the special features are in high definition and take up more room on the disc then? No, they're all in standard definition. Then what's the point? Oh, look, now they've started making disc 2 in Blu-ray sets, just a copy of the DVD bonus disc.
Yeah.
Because they can't be arsed.
It's just DVD.
Yeah, but so then I bought it again, and I'm glad I did, because it gives you all the special features, including all the lovely Easter eggs added on as like outtake reels, and Spider-Man 2.1 is on the Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray and the re-release. So, which is the 20-minute longer cut.
I remember when they did that in X-Men 1.5.
Yeah, I had that. It was pointless.
It was absolutely pointless.
It was mostly worth it for the special features. The film was no different. It was like, why does this exist?
I think there was a couple of deleted scenes they just put back in.
Yeah.
It wasn't much.
Wolverine, I'm walking around a corridor. Great.
Which I thought was a weird piece of dialogue for him to have, but...
Wolverine gets up and walks down the corridor. The walls are silvery blue. The doors are laden with an X. Is he just reading the stage
He's just reading the stage, yes.
I think he is. Does Wolverine do that? Probably. No one on this production has read a comic book. Let's just let him say it. Let him do the thing.
It was a formatting error in the script.
They put all of the stage directions in speech bubbles.
Let's just blame it on Joss Whedon. He's done enough, so we can.
Yeah, we can throw him onto the log fire.
We can throw him. We can throw him under the bus for that because he's under several buses at the moment. Deservedly so. So yeah, the Sony thing's happening. I'm really not excited about that Uncharted movie. I don't know about you.
I'm not fussed. The thing is, for me, I don't hate the idea because when they announced it, and as is apparent as of this recording, it doesn't bump the continuity of the games, and it's not just an adaptation of the game. Because if it was an adaptation of one of the games, just play the game. Like, the perfect version of it already exists. So they've gone, no, it's a story that takes place during the flashback period that you see in number 3, when he's younger. And I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, because we see a flashback of him meeting Sully for the first time, and in number 4 we see a flashback from around that period or just before that period with him and his brother. It's like, okay, so there is definitely a period in Nathan Drake's life where him as a teenager was getting up to this shit. Okay, fine. You're going to do a story of him in his late teens, early 20s. All right, great. Tom Holland, not my first choice, but do you know what? Sure, kid's got charisma. I'm there. Who's playing Sully? You've lost me. Mark fucking Wahlberg. Like, just why? The worst casting for Sully. The worst. But it's because, we've talked about this before, he was tied to play Nathan Drake in an adaptation about 10 years ago. So I guess they just kept rolling his contract over, and it was cheaper to keep him on board than it would have been to buy him out.
I don't like it. I don't
like it.
I don't like it. Turn it off.
Hey, it's me.
No.
It's Victor Goddamn Sullivan. I'm gonna drink a Bud Light.
If I see one Bud Light in that movie, I'm walking out. Oh no, I'm not watching it in the cinema. It's fine.
Hey.
No, that's due out in 2022, so we probably will be watching it in cinemas then if there are any left.
Cinema? Cinemagie?
Kinematograph.
Onomatopoeia.
Kinematography. So yeah, that's the thing that's happening. Streaming deals and networks and all that fun and profit.
All that tasty sex.
Let's talk about...
Oh.
Yeah, you were saying? You were going to say?
I was going to say, did you see the weird leak that's happened vis-a-vis Marvel's What If?
No.
So, I think in the days after we record this...
Yeah.
This information's going to drop proper, or we're going to get a new trailer. Because Hayley Atwell posted to her Instagram yesterday.
Ah, yes, Hatwell.
Reposted the trailer from a few months back, the What If trailer, saying summer 2021.
Yes.
It's like, okay, it's not a new trailer, same trailer.
Yes.
The reason this is likely that it's happened and that other people might be resharing it is because at a mall somewhere, you know those stands that sell like prints and holographic images in plastic frames and calendars and
the 2020 version of
mall.
blacklight posters.
Yeah, effectively. The pop up in the mall jobbies that are always there. They're always near the food court or in the corridors. A mall somewhere in the arse end of nowhere put out a print, because all of these things as well aren't official merch ever. They're just like sourced images and they're turned into, canvases and whatnot. One of them put up a Marvel What If image. Thing is, it's not a What If poster. It's a team poster for the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Shit.
The reason it's like, wait, what? Is because it looks like it's a branded logo kind of dealio that's obviously been sourced by accident or found by accident or whatever, that features Peggy Carter's Captain Britain, a clean-shaven sort of first Thor minus the beard-looking Thor, T'Challa's Black Panther, an armoured Black Widow. Sorry, T'Challa is Star-Lord, an armoured Black Widow, Killmonger, and a few other little features.
Yeah,
you go.
Oh, I found it now.
They make you go, wait, what? Now, the reason why this is likely legitimate is because why would Hayley Atwell suddenly be like, oh, guess we better ramp up the news about when the show's going out, everybody. If it wasn't because they're like, shit, I guess we're going to have to, this next week or so, start hinting at more stuff and prepping everyone for its release. And also, What If was advertised to us as like one for every movie, a what if tale of, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like this, but what if? Classic set for the comics, R2, the Watcher, presiding over everything. Maybe there is an ongoing arc here. Maybe the what if tales are involving some kind of Avengers equivalent, or in this case, Guardians of the Multiverse, who are being conjoined from the different realities to battle against something. Because what is the MCU if not a place where they're quite happy to go, yeah, let's make it connected. Why not? Come on, let's make people stick around so that people don't just tune into what if based on the film they like the most. Like, if there is an ongoing thread through these alternate reality stories, Spider-Verse style, like the comic book Spider-Verse style, then people are more likely to stick around and watch the whole thing. Either way, the main thing I'm taking away from this is Hayley Atwell has said summer 2021, so as far as I'm concerned, that's the only solid piece of news, and that makes me happy.
Gospel truth from the mouth of a saint.
Because that means we get Falcon and the Soldier, we get Star Wars The Bad Batch, we get Loki, and then we get What If. And at some point in the middle of all that, because we'll talk about Loki in a second, but at some point in the middle of all that, we're getting Star Wars Detours. Have you seen this press release?
No.
Okay, so
it rings
back
a
in
bell.
the late 2000s, early 2010s, Lucasfilm,
is this the Robot Chicken show?
Yeah, Lucasfilm were like, what are we doing with the Star Wars property? Sod all. What did we mostly make money on aside from merchandise lately? Oh yeah, we did those tie-ins with Robot Chicken and Family Guy, and those DVDs sell well. Get the Robot Chicken guys on the phone. Let's make a comedy show. Fuck it. And they commissioned I think it was something like a 70+ run, and 49 episodes were produced. I might be off on my numbers.
Yeah.
But
it was a lot.
2 seasons worth, roughly. Two seasons worth of a show called Star Wars Detours, which is advertised as sketches based on the different people within the Star Wars universe. The everyday people, the shops, the businesses, the families affected by, the conflicts going on in the time between the prequel and the original trilogy.
So, like, comedic versions of those tales from Jabba's Palace, tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, story collections, yeah.
That kind of jobby. But then the footage they put out as, like, a teaser is very much but all the sketches are going to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader and Han Solo and, like, Tiny Valley Girl, Princess Leia and Jar Jar Binks. And it's just like, so it's not about the average people of the... Okay, sure, whatever. A lot of returning voice cast from the Robot Chicken interpretations, including, like, Seth MacFarlane as Palpatine and Breckenmeyer as Boba Fett, and which is great, because his Boba Fett's great. Pew, 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 and down goes Solo. Like, he's fun as Boba Fett in the Robot Chicken special, so that's great. Seth Green as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ahmed Best as Jar Jar Binks. Like, they've got a fair amount of talent in there. Anthony Daniels as C-3PO recorded all this stuff. Thing is, this show, they produced nearly 2 seasons with it. CGI animated. Based on the trailers, it's not as good as the Robot Chicken specials, but, it's fun. It's a fun little... It's a detour. Star Wars Detours. And then Disney bought Lucasfilm. And went, hey everyone, we're doing a new trilogy. One is already in production. Everything you know, aside from the 6 pre-existing films, is now not canon. It's Star Wars Legends, except for the Clone Wars animated series and the Rebels animated series. Everything else is now defunct. Here's what's going on going forward. Goodbye, everybody. Also, we want you all to take Star Wars seriously again, because we're about to drop a new trilogy. So this thing over here is gonna put it in a box, and it's been about 8 years. There has been no news as to whatever was going to happen to Detours, but through people like Felicia Day and Seth Green and other talents that were involved in it, we learnt that 40-odd episodes were produced, 2 seasons worth. There were scripts going up to at least 70 episodes, and it's never coming out. Yesterday, the news broke that Disney Plus will be releasing Star Wars Detours. All completed episodes. Some episodes that needed just a bit more work have been finished, and a couple of specials that they obviously were working on too have also been finished, and they will be released on Disney Plus.
Are they going to be part of the Star Wars Vintage Collection
that seems to be the belief? Yes, because they've started putting out stuff that's no longer canon, but exists, like droids, Caravan of Courage, or Ewoks. All this stuff has
the
started
animated
being released.
segment from the holiday special. But
Yes,
not the whole holiday
but
special.
not the holiday special.
Cowards.
Things like the was it Aronofsky's The Clone Wars, like stuff
Jenny
like that.
Tartakovsky. Not Aronofsky.
Tartakovsky, Tartakovsky, Flofsky, Flofsky,
Yendi Tartakovsky.
Yendi Dar Samurai Jack.
No, yes.
Dexter's Lab.
Dexter's Laboratory Tartakovsky.
Ski.
Dexter's Laboratory Ski.
Clone Wars Ski. Asajj Ventress Ski.
Not Darren Aronofsky. Darren Aronofsky's Clone Wars would be very different.
And probably kind of cool, I imagine. But anyway, yeah, so it's...
Mother.
Hit or miss. True. Oh, God, that film. Anyway, so... The only thing worse and more traumatic than having spent money to see that in the cinema was then being part of a hidden camera prank in my own house that same afternoon. That wasn't fun. But... curse you, Sam and Mark. And my wife. But, yeah, there was... So the belief is it might be dropped with that. There is a suspicion that it's going to be released on May the 4th. Because why not? Like, happy Star Wars Day, to celebrate. Here's a 50-plus episode comedy animated series that's never been seen before. Enjoy. Like, why not? I wouldn't blame them. But, hey folks, in the words of the immortal Dr. Ian Malcolm, life, finds Star Wars Detours. That's what he says. That's the original quote from Jurassic Park, and then they cut it out, the cowards. So, yeah, that's a thing. Loki! Did you see the trailer?
I did see the trailer for Loki.
I feel like it doesn't actually tell us that much. Nope. More than we already know, but I'm sort of fine with that.
Which is fine.
It confirms that it's Endgame Loki. It's cocked up timeline Loki. We see them be like, yeah, you nicked the Tesseract and you weren't meant to do that. It's like, oh, okay. So it's definitely this, but they're not doubling down. Like, our Loki that we spent 3 phases of a movie series with is dead. He is dead. He's as dead as a doornail. This guy is the other guy.
It seems like he'll be getting a sort of version of that same character development.
Yeah.
But maybe via a different avenue.
Owen Wilson looks like he's having a blast.
Which is always good.
Also, grey-haired Owen Wilson. Suits him.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Daddy Owen Wilson stuff coming out when this hits.
Wow. I'm so mature now. Wow.
Well, is it?
Yeah. Can we take a moment to acknowledge the bit where it looks like Loki's having his photo taken in front of Pompeii? That is the kind of humor I'd hope from a Loki-based project. Yes. Yes. The double cross nature, the whole like you've literally stabbed everyone you ever worked with, you've stabbed in the back. Well, not this time. It's just like yeah, whatever. I like the score.
Yeah.
It sounds nice.
It's just stylish, and it looks like it's going to be very different to WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is nice because it means that these sort of limited series that they're doing are very much their own flavour of each, which is neat. I think that's been the strength so far of the two that we've had. Well, the second one we're still in the progress of. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Loki. I think it'll be a good laugh. Shall we talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Is that a segue? I think that's a segue.
Yeah.
So, from this point on, boys and girls, mild spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 4. Then full-blown spoilers. And then our main dish after that, which will be full-blown spoilers. If you want spoiler-free thoughts on it, last week.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Stick around if you're happy for spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And giant ape and the fiery lizard boy.
Godzilla versus Kong! But first of all, Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4 hit this weekend. And it took us places. We get more of the Wakandan Zemo tension. We get more of John Walker getting involved, and I get a bit more insight into the motivations of the Flag Smashers, particularly Karli, and sort of Sam's various attempts to solve these problems. And it doesn't end well.
Oh, no, it doesn't. Well, for starters, Sam absolutely should have been Captain America. This series is showing that this is a man who has developed such a level-headed approach to everything he's doing now that, like, the person Mackie's performance reminds me of the most in this is Chris Evans in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Like, he's operating off the grid to try and take down something bigger and scarier in a way that the main organization don't want to do, or going about the wrong way. And he's so calm. Like, he's not without the urgency. It's not like he's breezing through everything, but I mean,
but that's why
this was, the first time our heroes face off against the antagonist of the series. Like, Sam sits down and talks to Karli.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit. Is this going to be resolved? I think this is going to be resolved. Sam's really good at this shit, and they play on his strengths. They play on the fact that he obviously has had to do negotiation when it comes to actually military stuff, because he's been an infiltration guy, he's been a flight guy, so it's been about getting into places, getting what needs getting, and then getting the hell out of there. But also his work with trauma and PTSD and people who feel lost after coming home from combat and losing friends in war. Like, he gets where she's coming from, and it's that to me was the first thing about this episode where I was like, this is why it's a series about Sam Wilson. Like, this is why, because this is where he shines, and why it's different. He helps other people deal with their trauma. Whereas the last series we just watched was about someone dealing with their trauma the worst possible way. Yeah. This is about someone who's like, nah, like, people need to be listened to. If Wanda had gone to Sam for some consultation, WandaVision never would have happened, and people's lives would have been spared. He would have absolutely talked her out of doing anything rash.
You say that.
True. This is Wanda. Bucky. Fuck me. Nice in this. Doesn't really get to do too much, but we get a glimpse into that moment of relief when he realised he was no longer the Winter Soldier. We learn about
that was neat.
What Wakanda did for him specifically. And that was wonderful. Brilliantly performed by him and the actor who plays Ao. She was phenomenal.
She's great.
She's in it briefly, and you come away going, yeah, she's the coolest motherfucker in the show.
I like all the... I think the visuals for the Dora Milaje is just really strong, but it does.
So you don't have any jurisdiction here. The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje are. And it's like, okay, not gonna mess with you. You've got vibranium weapons and you know how to use them. I'm not gonna step to you.
There's absolutely fucking beast John Walker.
We get a bit of Sharon. There's definitely something more going on there. There's definitely something more going on there with Sharon Carter.
Do you think?
I think there is. Because
I was going to ask something, but then I don't want to do it.
No, we'll do it in spoilers. We'll do it in spoilers. But I think there's more to it. The fact that she was back in this over the phone suggests to me that it's not a case of, well, Emily Van Camp's going to be in one episode and then we're going to move on, but she might like cameo. No, Sharon's not done. We have 2 more episodes. Her plot is not finished. Madripoor is not a plot that is finished. There's got to be more.
Florence Kasumba is the actress who plays Ao.
Florence Kasumba, you're a goddamn badass and we love you. Then Zemo. A little less Zemo this week, but that's not a bad thing because Brule does what he does best whenever he's on screen.
He's such a git. I love him. I love him so much.
Did you see Marvel's treat to everyone this week online? So, jokingly, after last week's dance montage, at the club, people started joking on Twitter and YouTube, especially in the comment section, hashtag release the Zemo cut. Because Daniel Bruhl had mentioned in an interview that, we shot like half an hour of that shit, and all you saw was like a tiny bit of it. So people started, jumping on the Snyder cut kind of piss-takey bandwagon, release the Zemo cut. Well, Marvel heard you all. Because not only did they release a minute and 8-second video to all their socials set to the club track from that scene of just different cuts of him dancing from different takes, but they put an hour-long version of that on a loop on the Marvel Entertainment YouTube channel. So they released the Zemo cut. And I think a bunch of people are now going to start using that as their meditation and motivation background music, because just looking over at the screen every now and again and watching him do that weird little fist pump is a beautiful thing.
It's fabulous.
It's the whitest dancing I've ever seen, and it makes me very happy. But yeah, you're right. He's a git. He gets to Zemo up in this one. He gets to do some very Zemo-esque things, like as in Well, okay, let's differentiate. Some very Baron Zemo-esque things happen in this story. But I think the highlight this week is Lamar Hoskins and John Walker's storyline.
Oh, yeah.
To go into it at all is to tread spoilers, so those who aren't sticking around for spoilers will wrap it up here for you. Things get tense.
Just a little.
The plot of this show is not as cut and dry as it appears to be.
So it's Wyatt Russell and Clay Bennett.
Yes.
The two folks we were talking about.
There is a very big wildcard element to this series, which makes me think that the first 3 episodes were one thing, and these remaining 3, so the 2 after this one, are going to be a different thing entirely. And I'm fine with that, because it's all organic and we watch it happen in real time. This is especially a big deal if you are invested in the world of the MCU, because you already have opinions about how things are meant to be by this point, and this show is going to flip the bird to your opinions in a way that is very compelling and very, very interesting. And this isn't a Ralph Boner, we're playing a joke on you situation. This is oh no, we know you care about that. Now look at this. I think this is the strongest of the 4 episodes so far.
Definitely.
I really dug this one. I cannot wait to see where it goes. Shall we put on our spoiler hats and
let's do that.
Swan into the spoiler soiree.
So
tipping a genteel milady to everyone as we passed.
This episode ends on a hell of a visual.
Fuck me, does it? Oh my god.
The Captain America shield dripping with blood.
Yeah. Held by Captain America.
Yeah. And
in front of the world.
Yeah, everyone getting it on their old camera phones. It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, let's forget real world parallels even of, authority being caught doing something fucking horrible by the public.
Yeah.
And the power of being able to hold power to account by essentially holding up your camera and going, people can see what you're doing. Maybe think about what you're doing. I mean, there's some powerful shit going on there, and this is a series that has absolutely dealt with power struggle, abuse of power, social and racial angles when it comes to these dynamics.
Yeah.
Oh god, this episode was all about shocking you. Let's talk John Walker, because oh Jesus.
Oh, he's a nasty piece of work, isn't he?
I love who's the actor who plays Carly. She's great. She is really good. Erin Kellerman. She's one of those actors who I think we're going to see in a lot more things.
Yeah.
Because she's one of the few sort of that was kind of cool of Solo.
Yes.
And then she's been really good in this. But I think the OG, the MVP of this series is Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
'Cause fuck, what a bastard. So episode 2 sets up the idea of, you kind of empathize with him, you kind of like him. It's like, yeah, it's big shoes to fill. Like, you shouldn't be here, but seems like a nice guy. And by the end of the episode, you're like, he seems like a bit of a dick. Actually, he's got a bit of a inferiority complex that's going to come back to bite him. Like, this is okay. Maybe they didn't hand this over to a good dude. Episode 3. Yeah, this guy's definitely a dick. This guy is not the nicest guy at all, and he's getting okay. Bruised ego does not look good on him. All right, let's see where this goes. This episode is like, yeah, this person's a son of a bitch who is so petty and so bad at this. And you can see why. Like, a lot of it's from pressure, and a lot of it is from that weird expectation of the mantle, coupled with the idea that the whole world is watching to make sure, like, he lives up to being Captain America. And he's, this week we see his wedding ring. Like, dude's got a family back home. So, like, there's that extra level too of, like, he's got to be a hero to his his old army buddies, and to America, and the world's got to look up to him. And he's really not stable. And now he's got the super soldier serum in his system.
Which,
and it reminded me a hell of a lot of Nuke from Jessica Jones. Like, I was getting the same vibes as that.
Nuke and John Walker are kind of similar. Nuke's a more extreme version, but they are kind of similar characters.
Nuke right down to having the American flag tattooed on his face in the comics. Definitely on the more extreme. But what's kind of interesting here is, like, so in the comics, a US agent was appointed. John Walker was appointed as the US agent, as Captain America.
Yeah.
By the president, who at the time was the Red Skull in disguise. And there was this whole,
me here, I'm not sure about all this, but yeah.
Yeah, it's this whole thing of, like, he was made Captain America for a time, like, for a brief period.
Yes, yeah.
And then the Red Skull wanted to shatter the essentially the legacy by having him do some atrocious things. So he had John Walker's parents killed in a accident to push him over the edge. So this is the MCU take is, no, this guy's already feeling the pressure. He just needs to be tipped. And his ego getting more and more bruised is the thing that makes him go, no, all right, I know what I'm going to fucking, right, what's that? There's a vial of the super soldier serum. No one else counted it. Mine. As soon as he pocketed that, I was dreading it.
Yeah.
I was just like, when's he going to take it? And then the episode reveals brilliantly, oh, he's already taken it.
Yeah.
He's already taken it. You didn't see him do it, but between that scene and him and Lamar having a chat at the train station, dude's already fucking taken it.
I think he might have taken
already
it.
In his system.
I think he might have taken it after that chat.
Oh, do you think that chat might have been the thing that made him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, again, this episode does a great thing of reminding us of what the first Avenger did, which is Erskine's formula, or in this case, the recreation version of the super soldier serum, doesn't turn you into a superhero. It turns you into a bigger, stronger, more focused version of who you already are.
It gives you more of it gives you more of who you already are.
Which is the one fantastical element in the first Captain America. It's that, amongst all the sci-fi, it's that one thing of, like, through all this, no matter what happens tomorrow, please be what you've always been, a good man. And it's like, okay. And, there's the implication that, what's his name? Oh God, Red Skull. What's the Red Skull's name?
Johann Schmidt.
Johann Schmidt, that's it. There's the implication that Johann Schmidt mutated the way he did with the super soldier serum because, like, the idea is that it's not the refined version and, you took it out of this, that, and the other, and la la la. But there's also the implication that it turned him hideous and terrifying and demonic in the face because he was a bad person. It's like, well, obviously it's not as simple as that, but maybe it is. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's how it works. And it looks like John Walker is... Essentially, we've got the Red Skull 2.0. The difference here being that this super soldier serum doesn't change your appearance. So, like, we've got an evil motherfucker with the super soldier serum in his veins. And it's unclear at the end of this episode. Maybe we'll find out next week. But he brutally murders one of the flag smashers.
Yeah. And
possibly decapitates them. Possibly. We don't know for sure. I know the internet's already started dubbing him Decapitation America. But it's like we don't know if he does that, but It's the fact that he kills the Flag Smasher, who earlier in the episode has that wonderful moment with Carly where he's like, I used to look up to like those kind of people, and specifically Captain America.
Yeah.
And it's like he's the one who gets brutally murdered in public by Captain America. And it's like, oh, this is horrid.
It is. It is.
And that final tip to lead to that is Lamar is Battlestar getting murdered. Because the super soldiers, like Carly's lot, the Flag Smashers, they're not used to it. It makes you really appreciate how much Steve and also Bucky pull their punches.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they know their strength, they know what they're capable of, and they're responsible enough to do the right thing. Especially Steve, because we've seen him fighting superhumans, aliens, robots, but also a lot of normal people. And, yeah, one kick, and Lamar goes flying into the pillar, and neck frickin' snaps, and he's dead. You're like, oh!
Is it a neck snap, or is it like a head trauma? I don't think it really matters. Like, it's something horrible anyway.
He's gone. Like, the moment he hits that pillar, he is no longer among the living.
No.
And it's just like, oh,
it is rough.
Shit. It's so, it's incredible. This was my favorite one. I don't know if people can tell. I don't know if you can tell, Matt.
Oh, I can definitely
This was
tell.
my favorite episode of the floor.
It's a really, it was just a really strong, episode of what is becoming a really strong series. I'm still a little concerned about the way that they are framing the quote unquote villains in terms of like how. I don't want the Flag Smashers to be comic book evil.
Yeah, and I think this one does. I think this episode does some work to flesh them out a lot more than the previous three,
especially after last week's sort of like, I think we've got points and ideas that actually make sense, but we're definitely evil because we bombed a building full of people. So it's getting better, but in that sense. But
you realise that Carly maybe is about to rely on violence as a means of making a point.
Yeah.
Because she thinks it's the easier way out, and now it's that whole thing of like Sam's thrown that spanner in the works to her of like, you are so much better than that. Like you are so much better than this. So I think it might pay off.
I would hope so
for yourself in terms of like, it's about catching her before she flips to.
I feel like they're about to go that way.
Yeah,
and I feel like they're going to use her as a parallel to John Walker.
I like the way that she dealt with Sam's sister. Like, she calls her up and you think it's like a full-on threat. And then when Sam arrives, it's like, no, of course it wasn't. Like, of course I'm not going to go out of my way to harm her. I just needed you to be here and take this seriously. You're like, I don't doubt her when she says that. Like, I can't imagine her running to go and physically threaten to kill his sister in the next two. Do you know what I mean? I get you. She means that, like, she's innocent. Like, why would I hurt her? Don't be ridiculous. Although I do love that she's like, come alone. So naturally, Bucky's like, I'm coming with you. And then they both rock up. And she doesn't outright say it. She just kind of looks at Bucky. Keeps looking at Bucky like, you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, he's there. You brought someone. But I like the fact Bucky's just like, no, I'm with you. I'm staying with you. Fuck it.
But to be fair, she lets it go. Like, she doesn't...
Yeah.
Like, she understands that there's got to be some compromise. So the fact that you're able to at least try and reason with her, certainly more than you are with John Walker, who's supposed to be the good guy, I think is an interesting parallel. I just want to see where they go with it and see if they stick the landing or see if they fuck it.
Fuck that landing. Put your penis in that landing, everybody. Go on. Go for it.
Really good action stuff in this, especially with the Dora Milaje fights.
Can we take a moment to appreciate that they didn't go the easy route or the most cliche route? John Walker gets his ass handed to him, and the first thing he didn't say was, but they're just a bunch of women, or they're a bunch of... No, the first thing he said was, but they weren't even super soldiers. And you can see that that's the point where he's like, the fuck am I doing?
That absolutely destroys him, yeah.
It's, of course the Dora Milaje kick your ass. Just because you're wearing that costume, just because you're holding the shield, doesn't mean that you're like immediate authority, superhuman, everybody bows down to you. Like, you are a pawn in this.
Yeah, totally.
And I do hope they bring it back to the government in the States. I don't want that to get left hanging. I think that might be the thread that goes on into the films going forward.
Possibly.
The idea of the government trying to go, you all went rogue as hell, so we're going to do Avengers. Like, we're going to have that. It's going to be ours, and we own it. And, you know, the rest of the world will respect our country. They'll respect America because we have the Avengers, and they're ours. And our Captain America didn't work, but here's our Hulk, and here's our Iron Man. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's stuff that you could do with that. I don't want that to get left open, because that, to me, is the biggest, like, you going to say something about this so far? Is this like they lied to Sam's face? Like in episode 1, one representative's like, you're doing the right thing donating the shield, and by the end of it, it's like, here's Captain America. It's like, you were planning this, you've obviously focus grouped, you've figured out what soldier you want, you've made a fucking uniform.
They already had him trained, like...
Yeah, so... Yeah. Zemo. Sweet Zemo. Sweet
Zemo.
Creepy,
literally sweet
singing
Zemo.
Nursery rhymes and dishing out Turkish delight to children. Zemo. So creepy.
Yep.
So creepy. Brule plays the creep factor this week, and it's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable and slimy in places. And I love when he calls Sam out, and Sam just very calmly completely defeats him in debate within like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
It's like Zemo's playing mind games and they're working on Bucky. Bucky says they aren't, but he's clearly getting wound up.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not bothering Sam at all. Because Sam's like, I know exactly what you're doing. Like,
it's just a really neat way that this series is sort of fleshing out the idea that, yes, Steve and Bucky were friends for longer, but there's a reason that Steve chose Sam to succeed him and not Bucky. Because
we have Buck says it was either end of last week or this one where he basically is like, if I had the choice, I'll do it. Like, I'll be Captain America. If someone needs to do it, it's not him. It's not this John Walker dude. Yeah. I'll do it. And it's like, okay, but even Bucky knows that like that's not the right call. It's not the right decision.
No,
It's like you said, Steve picked Sam for a reason,
and we're getting to see more and more of that, which we didn't necessarily see through the films, which is why this is nice that they're given this room to breathe and have those characters sort of grow a little. Sharon.
Yes.
Do we think she's got more to do with the power broker than she's letting on?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because we're 4 episodes into 6-episode miniseries. We still don't know who or what the power broker is besides somebody who paid for the construction of the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
And is pissed off that they haven't got it because the Flag Smashers nicked it, and is able to threaten the Flag Smashers and be like, you better bring it to me or you're in trouble. And they're definitely in trouble now because 8 super soldiers, 20 doses, 8 of them gone, 1 of them now dead, and the other
2 of them dead.
The other 12, oh, of course, yeah. And the other 12
a couple
vials,
of episodes ago got gunned down, yeah.
And the other 12 vials, 11 smashed and 1 taken by Captain America. So it made total sense when Zemo smashed them. Yeah. Yes.
I think there's that one moment where you think he's like, is he going to take it? And then he's just
I'm glad he didn't. Because his power is in being a master manipulator. Yeah. Like, that's his power. He's a chess master. So
I thought they might do you got to become the thing you hate to destroy the thing you hate.
But he also makes a big point in this one of saying like he didn't hate Steve Rogers. So I didn't hate Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers was a good man. What he hated was the Avengers. Like, that's what he hated, and now it's gone. So he's like, I did my work. I got what I wanted. Like, I don't mean ill will to any of you individually. But what you did, because of being one big thing, that needed to go. And I've done it. And it's like, fair enough. I'm glad he smashed it. And that resulted in more of a chill up my spine when John Walker spots the missing one. You're like, yeah. The out of Zemo or Walker getting hold of a vial to become a super soldier, Walker's the one that scares me more at this point. Like, he's unhinged. You don't know what he could do.
Yes.
And then they show you how unpredictable he can be by killing someone and holding up the shield, which there was some photos during the production of this series leaked about a year odd ago of that scene being filmed, though they shot around things carefully so you couldn't see exactly what he was doing. But like, they get like the shot of him sort of standing with the shield, and someone took a photo from the set, and there's no blood on the shield, so they chose to go digital with that shot.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good call, because had we all seen that prior to this episode, it would have been like, what the hell's going on? Whereas in this case, it just came as a complete, absolute shock. Like, it was just like...
Also means that they can tweak it as to how graphic they want it to be.
Yeah, and decide as they go along, like, how far are we going to push this? It's PG-13, how far toward the 13 are we going to push this?
Well, I think this has been, in terms of violence, it's been pushed further than any of the films have been.
It gets away with it because it's bloodless.
Yeah.
Which is why the blood was so shocking.
Yes.
Because suddenly it's like, oh fuck. oh damn. Shield did what? The shield was used to what? I can't wait to see where this goes, and more so, I'm delighted because I don't know about you, I can't tell where it's going to go.
No, I'm not quite sure. The 2 episodes to go, I'm not sure how it's going to wrap up. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
Speaking of not knowing which way things are going to go, title fight, spoilers continue. If you want Matt's spoiler-free thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong 2, Monsterverse Trick Boogaloo, go back to last week. That's where his spoiler-free review was. But Mayhew.
Yes.
Tell me, Don Mayhuel, tell me of El Diablo and Skull Island and the Hollow Earth and all these other things.
Who you think would win in a fight between Kong and Godzilla?
In a just world, it'd be Kong, because he's more empathetic. In terms of like most iterations of, that have come and gone over the years, Godzilla is either hero or villain, whereas Kong tends to be hero who is screwed over.
You can emphasize more with him because he's more humanoid.
Well, that too, but then again, King of the Monsters, which I didn't love, but there was stuff that I really liked about it. King of the Monsters does a great job at setting it up as like, oh no, Godzilla's a good dude or a good dudette.
We rewatched King of the Monsters again this weekend, and it remains just fabulous. It's so spectacularly dumb. I love it.
Any respect I have for that film,
I love it.
Any respect I have for that film comes from how much joy it brings you.
That's
that's what I'm thankful for it existing, because of how giddy you were after you saw it.
It's so good.
So in a just world Kong, I think because they're the mainstay of this franchise, Godzilla's the winner. But, and you kind of hinted this to me after we finished recording last week, because I had to ask you a question. I was like, just tell me. Yeah. I still think, even if there is a clear winner, the final fight is them versus the other thing, because all of these films always end up doing that because they can't help it.
And yeah, it totally is, but...
Is there a definitive winner in the Kong v Godzilla bouts?
Yeah, it's Godzilla.
There we go. Okay.
Godzilla basically almost kills Kong.
I hate Godzilla even more now. How dare you? Hands off my ape.
Kong backs down because he's on the verge of death. And the main characters have to, like, use the power source of one of their cool Hollow Earth explorator vehicles as a giant defibrillator to defibrillator. Fuck me. Defibrillator. Jesus. You know when you say a word so much and it just stops making sense to your mouth? That's what they have to use one of their cool space age Hollow Earth vehicles as a giant defibrillator to stop Kong from going into cardiac arrest. That's how badly he's been beaten by Godzilla.
Okay.
But then he's able to get up and help Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Who is, correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah,
a robot who is partially created using the skull of one of Ghidorah's heads?
Yes. So he's a giant robot, but the software for him is a neural link, which is at the core of which is the skull of one of Ghidorah's heads
Do skulls have tissue enough on them to provide a neural link?
Well, Ghidorah regenerates, doesn't it?
Ah, yes, okay.
So,
all right,
clearly
bullshit movie science, I'll take that.
Some of his consciousness is in there because the reason that... Because at the start of the film, Godzilla starts attacking this Apex company. Mm-hmm. He starts attacking their facilities, and as you go on, you find that the reason that he's attacking them is because he can sense Ghidorah. And then the film also implies that Ghidorah has been in control from the start and has been goading Godzilla into it using Mechagodzilla, like putting out the pulse.
So the first Godzilla movie, the villain, as it were, for the film was just big monsters against humans, and humans freaking out because they're like, "What the hell do we do?" But Godzilla was fighting the Mutos, the big moth lizard dudes.
Yes.
Then King of the Monsters, Godzilla is Hero Monster, fighting alongside Mothra and Rodan.
Well, against Rodan, because Rodan teams up with Ghidorah.
Against Ghidorah, King of the Monsters, Ghidorah. At that point. And Ghidorah is an alien 3-headed dragon lightning firing motherfucker. And then... So this movie is like, it's Godzilla versus Kong. But also Ghidorah kind of possessing Robot Godzilla. Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, because there is the idea that there was a war, and it's sort of expanded up on a little bit with you see old cave paintings and stuff, and you also, when you reach the Hollow Earth, sort of... So the whole thing is...
Which is finally paying off, because all three of the previous films have talked about a Hollow Earth theory. They all mention it in like a weird sort of, VFD, or... it's a Ministry of Magic. It's like they just keep dropping hints of this thing and they're not talking about it. Okay, so it pays off in this.
A bit like the temple, like the sort of undersea temple that you see in King of the Monsters, where Godzilla goes to recuperate.
Yes, yeah.
So we go to the proper Hollow Earth in this, because Alexander Skarsgård's character is the brother of a character who you don't meet, who tried to go to the Hollow Earth. But because of the way that gravity works there, because gravity basically flips as you go into the center,
right?
Like his expedition was destroyed because the vessel that they used to try and get there couldn't withstand the G forces. And you get some trippy 2001 Space Odyssey shit as they go through the gravity barrier in this. So Apex basically like, oh yeah, we've developed these like cool hovercraft space shuttle cool sci-fi things, because this is also like set like 10 years in the future from now, because it's supposed to be set 5 years after King of the Monsters, but it's clearly not because Millie Bobby Brown's character's still in school.
Oh, for God's sake. But also, like, if it's set in the future, so we've got, like, hovercraft and stuff in this, like, spaceships in this film.
This is, like, the Apex's cutting-edge experimental technology, and that's not
but this is set in the same universe as the 2014 Godzilla movie, where no shit like that exists at all.
Yeah, but it's, like, 10 years on from that.
But 10 years? Come on.
After...
I can give it up, because ultimately it's a series of films called the Monsterverse. Like, whatever they need to tell the story and get the action scenes, fair enough. But I can imagine it's really jarring if you box set all 4 films in a weekend.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck?
And I watched Godzilla and King of the Monsters this weekend.
Yeah.
And they're so different tonally.
It's like watching 89 Batman and then skipping to Batman and Robin. You're like, how is this the same series?
But I love them both. I still really like the 2014 Godzilla. I just think it's
alright.
Good.
It's alright. I'm more partial to the OG original, like, 1940s thingy, because it's just...
I mean, who isn't? But...
I think it encapsulates the whole, like, the feeling of what the paranoia was at the time better.
You should check out Shin Godzilla if you get a chance as well.
I've seen... That's the most recent Japanese iteration,
Yeah.
The one scene I've seen is the one where... Godzilla's like at a certain area and they're getting clearance to launch a nuclear warhead, and what follows is that 7-minute scene of different layers of bureaucracy having to contact each
Well,
other.
that's one of the major themes of Shin
fucking
Godzilla.
brilliant. It's
like
so good.
Part of what makes it so hard to respond to this gigantic catastrophe is all the layers of bureaucracy you have to deal with in the Japanese government.
By the time they fire it off, he's nowhere near anymore. And it's just like, that is brilliant. Like, that is hilarious and depressingly real.
Shin Godzilla's really good. If you can get hold of it, it's well worth giving a watch.
Is he thick?
Sorry?
Is Godzilla thick with 2 C's?
Not in Shin Godzilla, no. But he's scarier.
He's cragglier, isn't he? He's a cragglier bugger.
And he's like more mutated and sort of creepy. Because Shin Godzilla was done by Hideki Anno, who's the guy who did Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes.
So it's got that sort of sensibility to it, which is pretty dark.
And also makes sense, because if you wanted the big thick boy Godzilla, the American version that was coming out not too long before Shin Godzilla,
Godzilla Deluxe,
was very much like, here is Godzilla with tum and bum and big thick tail and tiny pea head.
As I say, in Japan they nicknamed him Godzilla Deluxe.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
Because they get the response from like Japanese studios and filmmakers and film goers was much more positive to the Legendary Pictures Godzilla films than it was to the 1999 one.
The Columbia TriStar. There you go. There's something for Sony's streaming service.
Yeah, there we go. The Roland Emmerich shit show.
The TriStar Godzilla, because they renamed in Japan. They have sort of dubbed that one Zilla.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing godly about it. And
he shows up in the Final Wars movie where all the Godzillas show up and just gets chumped in about 2 seconds.
He gets, because it's like an alien king dude is like summoning every possible monster to fight Godzilla around the world. And there's a montage where it's just like fighting 5 or 6 different monsters in quick succession. And then this one's in Sydney. And it's Zilla, and it's really painfully bad CGI. Like this film, I've seen this, so I've seen Final Wars.
Yeah.
So the monsters in this are like mostly still practical effects and really well shot on miniatures and small sets, and they look great. They look really, really good.
Because I think Shin Godzilla was the first Japanese produced Godzilla film where Godzilla is entirely CGI.
Yes, yeah. Prior to that, it's always been man in suit.
Yeah.
And even in this one, but the way it's shot and everything, it looks great. It's 2004, 2005, I think, Final Wars.
Maybe.
But when Zilla, the 90s American Godzilla, shows up in it, it's painful CGI.
Yeah.
Like, purposefully, they've not given it the sheen that any other CGI effects in the film have. And it gets twatted by Godzilla's tail, knocked into the Sydney Opera House, and then Godzilla atomic breaths it until it explodes.
Yep.
It's just like, that is beautiful.
But anyway, that was a massive sidetrack. Where were we? So
worth it.
So Apex, the evil company that are secretly building Mechagodzilla, and Mechagodzilla is secretly setting off Godzilla's Ghidorah alarm, which is why he's become so aggressive suddenly. They want to get...
Apex have fuck all to do with Monarch.
Monarch are separate. Apex is like
they're still in it, though.
Tech company that have become prominent since King of the Monsters. Like lots of cybernetics and stuff like that, funnily enough. But they've developed these craft that they reckon can make the journey into Hollow Earth, but they need... Because they need a power source that can... Actually, because they've built Mechagodzilla, but none of their power sources can actually keep it running for more than a few minutes.
So why are they building it? To fight Godzilla?
To destroy all the Titans, so they don't have to deal with them anymore.
Okay, because because King of the Monsters ends with like that montage of the credits of Godzilla like kicking the arse of a few other ones. And,
well, the whole thing with King of the Monsters,
the rest of them kind of like bowing down as like, you are the superior one. We're all going to piss off and live quietly. The
whole thing with King of the Monsters is that that Godzilla's the alpha.
Yeah.
And because he was an invasive species, Ghidorah was another alpha, which is why they had to fight. And also, King Kong is essentially an alpha, but as long as he stays on Skull Island, Godzilla doesn't really give a fuck.
Yeah, because he's always been kind of self-contained and tiny.
But in this,
growing.
there is... So they want to get to the Hollow Earth to find this power source that can power Mechagodzilla, because obviously it's like super radiated still down there. It's the core of the Earth. There's all sorts of weird shit going on. And so they use Kong as a guide to get to the Hollow Earth.
Right. So has Kong been there, or is it like a spider sense kind of dealio?
It's like a spider sense kind of dealio, because they figure that Skull Island was a exit for the Hollow Earth on the thing, but it's basically, they don't go into whether it's like an ecological disaster or climate change. Basically, Skull Island's been pretty much decimated by like ongoing storms, so it's only the sort of enclosed habitat they've got for Kong, which is still like the Skull Island we saw in the 70s. Yeah. And the native tribe was all but wiped out, apart from one girl who has been adopted by Rebecca Hall, who plays the scientist who is sort of in charge of the Kong.
Yeah, because you're saying that Skull Island's under a big electric Truman Show dome.
Yes, and this little girl sort of has a empathy with Kong, and she's the last of the natives. And also it's a deaf character played by a deaf actress, which is very good.
Well done, legendary, good work.
Because she signs to Kong, and then later on in the movie, Kong signs back.
Ah, so there's a payoff. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that's how they eventually. So she becomes their sort of communication with Kong.
Yeah.
So they convince him to go into the Hollow Earth, and they go into the Hollow Earth, and it's like basically it's trippy as fuck, because it's like there's no sky. It's still light, but there's no sky, because the sky is the ground.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
What?
Like it's very Inception-y, in like you can jump off the top of a mountain and then land on another mountain, on the top of another mountain that's directly opposite it. And anyway, they find this big temple in the middle, which is like clearly, and it sort of makes clear again the sort of stuff that's been hinted at previously, that there was a sort of war between Godzilla's species and Kong species, and that they're the sort of last two. Mm-hmm. And that's where Kong finds his cool axe thing that you see him within the trailers, embedded in the corpse of embedded in the skeleton of one of Godzilla's species, which is even bigger than Godzilla.
Jesus Christ!
And that axe is empowered by the same sort of energy source that is the Hollow Earth, which is also the same sort of energy source that powers Godzilla's atomic breath. Okay. But then Apex take that and fuck off and use it to power Mechagodzilla. At which point Godzilla uses his atomic breath to drill a hole from Hong Kong through to the Hollow Earth, just so the protagonists can get out quicker. Like,
wait, what?
Like, in universe, he's serially doing it as some sort of threat display, but plot-wise, it's just a mechanism to get Alexander Skarsgård and Rebecca Hall and the little girl from the Hollow Earth to Hong Kong really quickly, so Kong can fight Godzilla. Godzilla just climbs up this giant hole. It's so stupid, but I love it.
Wait. What the fuck? So Godzilla's like, oh, I hear somebody in my basement. Brrr!
Basically,
there you are.
Yeah.
I shall now patiently wait for you to climb up here so we may fight in the Neon City.
Yep, and that second fight is in Hong Kong. It's neon soaked. And like, clearly hundreds of thousands of people are dying because they're just smashing shit left, right, and centre. And you get loads of sorts of people like running away and trying to get underground and stuff, but they're just causing so much damage. Like, they level most of the city, and that's even before Mechagodzilla comes out. Because the last facility where Mechagodzilla is actually being contained is in Hong Kong, which is why Godzilla's gone there.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
So,
they're going to tell me it like jetpacks up into the sky and then flies around the Earth to come find them. It's weird.
No, so, oh god, it's so stupid.
Mechagodzilla to the rescue.
But yeah, it's just for no apparent reason, Godzilla just breathes a hole into the center of the Earth.
Does he peer into it like a nosy neighbour? Hey guys, what you doing?
No, he kind of just fucks off after that.
Oh right, so he waits. He's like, it's going to take them a couple of hours to climb up. So
and then Kong arrives and I'm
gonna go get a Mackey's.
Yeah, Godzilla beats the shit out of him both times.
I've seen it written. Please tell me whether this is true.
Okay.
That Godzilla does an evil laugh at some point in that scene. Like, just looks at the camera and giggles. Is that true?
It's not like an evil laugh thing. It's like a sort of, you know the moment in where there's two dudes having a fight in a movie and one of them punches the other dude, and then the dude's like wipes the blood from his lips and looks at it and smiles.
Yeah,
it's like a Godzilla equivalent of that.
So it's the Godzilla equivalent, that bit in BVS where Wonder Woman gets smacked by Doomsday and sort of goes,
yeah, a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that.
Okay, because I've seen it described as an evil laugh, like at least 3 times online, and I was like, can Godzilla laugh?
But the only reason,
it's like Mothra's ghost floating over him, going, "Dude, calm down."
The two Godzilla Kong fights, the only reason that either of them end. So the first one is on a bunch is when they're transporting from Skull Island to Antarctica,
like the carriers, the big ships, the battleships.
During which the Monarch people and Apex people lose their entire escort fleet. Like, it's that devastating. And it only ends because Godzilla's nearly drowned, for one thing. So one of the battleships depth charges.
Wait, Godzilla's nearly drowned?
Kong's nearly drowned, sorry, by Godzilla.
Oh, right. I was going to say, bloody hell.
Because he only gets free.
Has Godzilla been had Godzilla been holding its breath every other time it was swimming in the previous movies? It's like, oh, gonna need just enough for 3 weeks. Oh, she got a tiny little snorkel. It's like a tiny little snorkel just sticking out of the corner of its mouth.
That's too cute.
A snorkel as big as a tower block, just sticking out of the side of its mouth.
Yeah, Kong manages to get free with the help of like depth charges from one of the battleships, and then he just wiped out on the deck of this aircraft carrier, like, and then
I did not expect to fight a giant lizard when I woke up this morning.
and then the human character's like, just shut the ship off and stay still, and like, so it's only that sort of show
Jurassic Park rules. Park rules.
No, it's to show like deference.
Oh, so like, hey,
stand down.
Hey,
so it's like, okay, look, you beat us. We're done. And then Godzilla leaves him alone because his main thing is to get his destroying Ghidorah, who he can sense, but obviously no one else knows he's still around. And then the second fight, it literally ends with like Kong again wiped out, giving a very good account of himself, especially with his fancy axe. Just like completely wiped out, like singed from the atomic breath where he's been caught by it, and he's just on his back in the middle of Hong Kong, and then Godzilla just comes up, stands on his chest, and just roars in his face.
Right. Okay. So Godzilla's like Godzilla's not like, I will kill you. It's like, I'll kill you if I have to.
Yeah.
I just want to whoop your ass.
He's just like, step the fuck off.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? I'm the boss. It's just getting Kong. He's not out there to kill Kong. He's like, it's to
we done
him.
We fucking done. Good. Did I stutter? Did I stutter when I said I'm king of the monsters?
If the human characters didn't intervene with their fancy hovercraft explosion as a defibrillator, fucking hell,
Matt versus defibrillators.
Defibrillator. Then he would have died from his injuries.
Okay.
Or from the shock of his injuries, I should say. Not from his, because he wasn't actually that badly injured. He just took a massive beating. And then he gets his second wind in time to help. So when they fight Mechagodzilla, regular Godzilla's getting his ass kicked.
Fair enough.
Because the sort of breath weapon that Mechagodzilla's got is more powerful than...
Because it's straight from the source.
Atomic breath,
It's not
and it actually manages to burn Godzilla. Which is the first time we've seen that.
Yeah.
Considering when he tanks a nuke at point blank range to the face in King of the Monsters and then just goes into meltdown. Yeah, it's just some serious fucking damage to him. And like Mechagodzilla's like a cool design. He's got a spinny blade tail. Like he's got blades on the end of his tail that can spin like a drill. He's got like cannons in his arms. He's got spine missiles. He's got these big breath weapon, which is bright red as opposed to Godzilla's
Bright
blue.
Okay.
But like once Godzilla charges up Kong's axe with his atomic breath,
Yeah.
Kong just like slice it, like he's lopping Mechagodzilla's limbs off.
Okay. All right.
Like, so, and that's how they eventually fight him. It's like,
Does Kong get to it? Considering he's been beaten by Godzilla twice, does he get to at least be the one to like deliver the killing blow to Godzilla?
He dismembers. If I remember correctly, he dismembers Mechagodzilla, and then Godzilla just pulls its head off.
There we
which
go.
is kind of what he did with Ghidorah. But I don't think I think the Ghidorah skull is still around by the end of the movie, so they could do it again if they wanted to.
Yeah, because there's been talk about it online this week that there's currently no planned next film.
Yeah, because King of the Monsters didn't do that well, but this had a really good opening, especially considering
Home
like
release.
it's the best opening since the lockdown started.
Yeah. Because people wanted to watch two giant monsters beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, and it's well worth watching. It's a lot of fun. So Millie Bobby Brown's character's back, and her
Sorry,
subplot...
could you define character?
Millie Bobby Brown is playing someone in this film.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
And her whole thing is, so there's a guy played by Brian Tyree Henry who works for Apex.
Oh, I love him.
Who has a seat...
Do they give him decent stuff to work with, please?
He's very silly. He's basically a crazy conspiracy theory dude who has a podcast called Titan Truth, where he's like, I know, right? This is the kind of tone they're going for in this film. It's not serious at all. And he's like, I know the truth about what really happened, and I work for Apex, and I know they're doing some really doing some really dodgy things, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And then, so basically, Millie Bobby Brown's character and her
Does he
mate...
not fear at all that someone's going to try and figure out who he is? I work for this company, and I'm going to take them down.
The only thing they get into it is like, oh, he's like, he washes in bleach so they can't track him. Because that's how Millie Bobby Brown's character tracks him down, is they just go somewhere.
She walks around going, I can smell bleach.
they just go, they work out like where like the podcast's being uploaded from, then they go to the area and they're just like going around being like, do you know anyone who buys like tons of bleach? That's literally how they find him, because it's Jesus. Her and Julian Dennison from Deadpool
Fire
2
Fist.
and Hunt for the Wilder People, and he's just like her nerdy mate, and he just kind of gets like he borrows his brother's van so they can go on this road trip to find this dude. And then they find the dude, and then they all infiltrate the Apex facility together, and they get in this weird thing that's full of skullcrawler eggs. And then they go in the weird sort of subterranean transit system, and they end up in the testing pen for Mechagodzilla, and they see it just absolutely like decimate a skullcrawler in like short order. And managed, and they're just like hanging around, like infiltrating this Apex facility, and then later on they sever the after Mechagodzilla goes rogue, like Ghidorah takes over, they sever the connection between the Ghidorah skull and the Mechagodzilla body, so it loses its sentience, which is another thing that allows Godzilla and Kong to defeat it, because
So she's there to basically be like, that monster was from the last film and it's an evil one. It must be controlling the robot. Quick, turn it off for a minute.
Yeah, it's neat, like the sort of control route, like the skull control. It's very like, it's the massive Ghidorah skull with like the pilot's seat in the middle of it, because the pilot for Mechagodzilla is revealed to be the estranged son of Ken Watanabe's character from King of the Monsters and Godzilla.
What, Mr. Let Them Fight?
Yeah.
What?
Apparently he has an estranged son who wants to destroy Titans, and he's the pilot for Mechagodzilla, and he pilots it by putting on a weird VR helmet in the middle of the Ghidorah skull, which has all these weird, cool, like pulsing purple and blue, like fiber optic cables going into it. It's really neat.
Why does he want to kill? Because his dad died? Is it a revenge thing? Because his dad respected Godzilla and wanted to study him.
They don't go into it. The only reason you know he's related to that guy is because they have the same surname. And it's only through reading stuff about the film that I knew that he was supposed to be his son and they were estranged. That's it. Because they don't go like this.
So this film continues the King of the Monsters tradition of the human characters. Stuff. Shut up. Look at the punching.
So Kyle Chandler, who is the Millie Bobby Brown's character's dad.
He's still
he pops up playing the same character, but he has exactly the same plot in that the only times you see him are him being like, oh, where's Madison? Because he knows that she's gone on this weird road trip and then she disappears in the middle of this crisis and he's trying to find her. So the only time you ever see him is him going, I've got to find Madison.
Because in the last one, if I remember correctly, her mum was the antagonist, essentially, of the film, because she was like, no, we have to. They've got to cleanse the planet and kill us all because that's what they're meant to do. And Ghidorah has to win.
No, they've got to cleanse the planet and kill most of us. The rest of us can survive.
She went to Thanos that shit, didn't she?
Yeah.
And she died in King of the Monsters, right?
Yeah. She does the self-sacrifice thing. She holds Ghidorah off for long enough for Godzilla to recover and do the killing blow, but then she gets caught in Godzilla's sort of meltdown.
Of course.
When you get burning Godzilla and he's just emanating waves of heat and just melting everything inside. It's very cool. I fucking love King of the Monsters, man. I love it so much. It's so good.
Do you think if they don't #continue the Monsterverse or whatever it was that was trending last weekend, do you think this is a fit-in finale? If they don't carry it on?
It's fucking great. They did shoot a post-credit scene for it, but they ended up just using it in the film as the last scene before the credits because we're like, because all it is showing you Kong's new habitat and the new Monarch outpost, which is in the Hollow Earth. So Kong gets his happy ending of going back to the Hollow Earth.
Now there's nothing left for him on Skull Island, but in the Hollow Earth he can at least be king.
Yeah.
Although they'll never say that because they can't call him King Kong for legal reasons, which is really weird. Kong is in the public domain, but King Kong is owned by a different studio as a name? Weird.
It leaves them with places to go if they want to continue it.
So Godzilla's roaming around on the Earth.
Godzilla's doing Godzilla thing like he was at the end of King of the Monsters.
Kong is in charge under the Earth.
Kong is in the Hollow Earth, exploring that with the Monarch people who are with him, looking out for him. And Ghidorah's skull, I think, is still... I don't think you can see it get destroyed. Just Mechagodzilla gets destroyed. So Ghidorah's skull is still around to maybe use in some nefarious scheme again, or maybe kickstart its regeneration abilities and regrow Ghidorah. Who knows?
Or dares to dream.
Or maybe Ghidorah was simply the harbinger of another alien invasion.
Or maybe Ghidorah was the friends we made along the way.
All three of them.
Maybe Ghidorah will start a podcast about all the other Titans being bitches. It's they're all little bitches. This one's called Talking Titans, and I'm going to tell you all about them little bitches.
Something that I love about King of the Monsters is that they named the three heads of Ghidorah 1, 2, and 3 in Japanese.
Yeah,
Ichi-san and Niri. I can't remember what 1, 2, and 3 in Japanese is. But the third head was also called Kevin because it was stupid.
Brilliant. So they just gave it a human name. Just Kevin.
Yeah, because it was the stupid one, and I think it's Kevin, which is the skull.
Kevin's Revenge.
That's in this.
Godzilla vs. Kong, Kevin's Revenge.
I'm not 100% sure.
They'll teach you to call me stupid.
It's under 2 hours, so it's the shortest of all of the legendary monster films.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any more than it needs to get the plot from A to B. Like, the human character, like, you've got Alexander Skarsgård, you've got Rebecca Hall, Cara Chandler, Millie Bobby Brown, Julian Dennison, Brian Tyree Henry, like, all doing good stuff. Like, as in getting the plot, keeping the plot moving along.
All showing up on time, getting into makeup at the right time, getting
They learned their
paid,
lines, they showed up
home.
on set, and they said them like they meant them, and then that's all they needed to do. And just... There's a great thing of, like, so they're trying to sever the uplink between the Ghidorah, like, head and Mechagodzilla. And the Julian Dennison character's like trying to hack into it, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do it." And then instead of like having him just have elite hacker skills, he just grabs Brian Tyree Henry's character's hip flask that's been set up earlier on and just pours it into the computer.
Yeah.
Like,
that would have been. I'll be honest. If it was about disrupting the machinery for just a minute, that would have been my first port of call.
Yeah,
just break it. Like, just break the machine.
It's like, this kid doesn't have any particular skills. He's just Millie Bobby Brown character's mate, and they go on this road trip together. Like, he's not like a crazy hacker or anything. He's just a weird kid whose brother has a van and just gets caught up in this. But he's also the one.
The plot rolling.
He's also the one who he's also the one who gives Mechagodzilla its name. Because it's never called Mechagodzilla in the film. When they first see it, Brian Tyree Henry's like, "Oh, it's Robo Godzilla." And then Justin's like, "Nah, it's Mechagodzilla." It's just like, this is so stupid. I love it. I love it.
This is the 2000s, like, you know, what was that lady? Some kind of cat woman? And it's like, yeah, we did the thing.
And you get the great thing where the main villain who's responsible for Mechagodzilla, what's his name? The
Silas McMustache Twirls.
Yes, basically. The guy who runs Apex, who is played by... who is...
That's Matt summoning the English language back to his sphere.
It's played by Demian Bashir, I think. Is that the right... Yeah, that's the right dude. He is, like, he's doing his whole... explaining his evil plan, and then while behind him Mechagodzilla is becoming sentient and turning against its creators, and then turns around just in time to get destroyed, like get munched by it. And so it's that kind of level of plotting we need. Like, it's not trying to do anything new. It's not trying to do anything particularly inventive. It's just literally getting you from monster fight to monster fight as quickly and efficiently as possible, and keeping a smile on your face. Like,
I probably would prefer this, because part of my big problem with King of the Monsters was the human stuff bored me to fucking tears.
See, I loved it all, though. I think it was just done with just such enough awareness of what they were doing. Like, no one was taking it super seriously. Some people were taking it less seriously than others. I'm looking at you, Bradley Whitford. You are a gem in that film, as you are in most films you're in, but particularly in King of the Monsters, it's just great. And like, but then you look at like Ken Watanabe, who's taking it way more seriously, but that's just because of his character, and it's
because his character was originated in a movie that took it as a ground level realistic take on all this. And he's now suddenly in a movie with a 3-headed space dragon. You're
but
like,
it works. Sure. It works. It just works. And
do we see many of the other Titans? Because the other thing, my other intrigue for these movies is the creature feature element. Skull Island, full of the bastards. Godzilla, not enough, but fair enough. King of the Monsters, fair amount, but a little too cock-teasy for me. King of the Monsters, I want to see that one. I want to see that one. Oh, God. Never mind.
You don't, unfortunately, see much of the other Titans. I don't think you see any of the other Titans in this.
Well, we get a Skullcrawler or two, right?
But you get a Skullcrawler getting just... so they basically release a Skullcrawler into Mechagodzilla's test pit to see how it does, and in about 2 seconds flat, it just grabs the Skullcrawler, holds its arms to the side, and then uses its atomic breath equivalent to saw it in half, like vertically.
Jesus Christ!
So that's how they show how tough Mechagodzilla is. It just like annihilates a Skullcrawler in about 2 seconds flat. And then when you get to the Hollow Earth, you've got like weird giant vulture birds and pteranodon bats and like things like that, but nothing on the scale of another Titan from like King of the Monsters stuff.
Nothing as freaky as like the bamboo spiders from Skull Island.
No.
Or any monster from Peter Jackson's King Kong.
No. But the implication is a lot of that stuff came from the Hollow Earth. So if they do the Hollow Earth stuff, like
we can go all in on the creepy monsters.
Yeah, there's a great shot in when they're doing the big Hollow Earth flyover, which is a bit like the flyover of Ego in Guardians Volume 2.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like, look at all this amazing scenery, but then everything is monsters. Like they just fly over a bunch of like these big rocks, and then the rocks just all get up and turn out to be giant crabs, and they just start moving around. Okay. It's just things like that. So there's lots of little background monsters and a couple of little things that are little antagonistic forces, but it is mainly focused on Kong, Godzilla, and then later Mechagodzilla. It's just such a blast, man. It's just so silly. Like it is even sillier than King of the Monsters, and it knows it's silly. It's Adam Wingard who directed it. Who did like You're Next and The Guest and that sort of like retro horror, like some of those retro horror movies that we got in like the late 2000s.
Yeah.
Did segments for VHS and VHS2 and ABCs of Death, that kind of thing.
So somebody who's used to shorter, more succinct, like, I am going to tell a story, I have this much time to tell it in, and it's going to be frightening and really creepy and cool to look at. Okay, let's go.
He did the Death Note movie, which a lot of people didn't like.
We weren't fans of that.
But then he also did the Blair Witch sequel / reboot, which I thought was really good.
Okay.
I quite liked. But yeah, did The Guest, did You're Next, that kind of thing. So apparently he's doing Thundercats next.
Oh!
So if he can do the same sort of tone for Thundercats as he did with this, I think we're in good hands. If not, I don't say that as someone who's like doesn't really care for Thundercats either way, but
you will do if it's as much fun as Godzilla vs. Kong.
I mean, yeah, like this is Saturday morning cartoon sort of levels of let's find the least complicated, most contrived way we can to get two giant monsters to fight and have fun doing it. And it's good. It succeeds on every level at that. Is it a great script? No. Is it an efficient script? Yeah. Are the fights great? Yeah, the fights are. Like, the monster action in it is just incredible. It's like the way it's all choreographed and the way it feels so fluid and it's easy to follow. Like, it's not just like, what the fuck am I watching? It's not like the metal hurricanes of the Bayformers movies or anything. It's just great. I love it. I really like it. I cannot honestly recommend it as a good piece of cinema, but you'll enjoy the fuck out of it if you go into it knowing what to expect. Because I like it a lot. I like it. And so it's more King of the Monsters, but more fun and brighter coloured. Well,
if you all enjoyed the fuck out of that, we hope you enjoyed the fuck out of this.
Yay!
So I did the segue in a way.
That was good. That was good. I think
that was fun. Like I said, I'm glad it exists because you look so goddamn happy talking about it. That's enough for me. We like liking things here.
It's one of those films where you'll just see something ridiculous happen and laugh out loud because what you saw happen was just so ridiculous.
Some of the best shit.
But the great thing is, that's exactly what they were trying to do. Is get that reaction from you.
Oh, an ominous sound just clicked outside of my door. So
go and deal with the ominous sound.
Either Ghidorah is here to take me away, or it's time, boys and girls, to wrap up. If you want to let us know about anything, ask us about a thing, or tickle us on the pips, you can get in touch with bigdamcontact@gmail.com. You can tweet us at BigDamnCast. You can watch live video game programming on Friday nights at twitch.tv/BigDamnstream. If you want to throw us a few shekels to keep the lights on around this here tiny warehouse that we run with an iron fist and no soundproofing, you can go to patreon.com/BigDamnCast. But until next time, what I want to know, Matt, is who would win out of a fight between King Kong and that weird plasticine Godzilla mold that they gave away with KFC toys in 1998. Do you remember that?
Godzilla.
Okay. But, like, it's only like 2 inches tall.
I totally had one of them.
Me too. You like moulded little skyscrapers out of the...
Yeah. Who would fight? Who would win in a fight between Kong and your Godzilla hand puppet?
I think my Godzilla hand puppet out of charm. It's just a handsome... It's the only good thing to come out of the 1998 TriStar film, is this hand puppet.
Well, let's find out. Be back here next week for the title match.
Wait, what? I'm not watching that film again.
Bye everyone.